Welcome back to our deep dive into the story of Mulan.
All right, so
It's wild how different cultures in different eras have reshaped her image and even her name, right?
right.
But what's even more interesting is how those changes reflect the values and beliefs of the time. It's like holding up a mirror to society
Right.
and seeing, how perceptions of women and heroes have shifted over like centuries.
Okay, so going back to the very beginning, the original ballad from the Northern Wei Dynasty,
Mm.
what does that version tell us about how women were viewed back then?
Well, Mulan's motivations in the original poem are rooted in filial piety, a deeply ingrained concept in Chinese culture.
Right.
She's driven by duty to her family and a desire to protect her aging father, and that really speaks to the societal structure of the time,
Yeah.
where family ties and obligations were like paramount.
Yeah, and that makes sense for that period.
It does.
Like the poem depicts a society where a woman's primary role
Is within the family. For Mulan to step outside of that and take her father's place in the army
Yeah,
was like a radical act.
it was.
It's fascinating how even though she's breaking norms,
Mm.
she's doing it in service of her family,
Right.
ultimately upholding family honor
Yeah,
and fulfilling her filial obligations.
exactly. And that's part of what makes her story so compelling. It's
Mhm.
about navigating a system,
Mhm.
but like subtly challenging its limitations.
Right.
Mulan doesn't reject her role as a daughter.
Yeah.
She expands it. She proves that a woman can embody both strength and filial piety.
So she's not like totally rejecting societal expectations,
Right.
but she's definitely like pushing the boundaries.
She is.
Yeah. Do you think that resonated with people back then? This idea of a woman capable of such strength and courage? I think her story would have been like a whispered challenge to the status quo,
Okay.
a seed of possibility planted in the mind of those who heard it. And as the story continued to be told and retold, that theme of challenging expectations, particularly around gender roles, became even more pronounced.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Like as society evolves, so do its stories.
Right.
So as we move into the Ming and Qing dynasties,
Okay.
when operas and novels really popularized Hua Mulan, how did her portrayal shift?
We start to see a more nuanced portrayal of her internal life.
Oh, okay.
There's more emphasis on her inner conflict, the emotional toll of living a double life and the societal pressures that she faces as a woman in a man's world. For example, in some of the operas,
Yeah.
there are scenes where Mulan expresses her anxieties about being discovered
Okay.
and her longing for home.
Okay.
And these moments weren't present in the original ballad.
So it's not just about physical strength anymore. It's about the psychological and emotional challenges
Yeah.
of defying societal norms. It's almost like the storytellers were acknowledging that, hey, it's not easy to go against the grain. There's an internal battle going on as well, a struggle to reconcile expectations with ambition.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
you can imagine how those inner struggles resonated with audiences, particularly women
Yeah.
who may have felt similarly constrained by societal norms. See Mulan navigate those challenges.
Yeah.
Ultimately triumphing through wit and courage, offered a sense of empowerment and possibility. It's like saying, yes, it's hard, but look, it can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone from this image of a dutiful daughter fulfilling her obligations to a more complex character,
Yeah.
grappling with internal conflict and societal pressures.
Right.
It's amazing how the story evolved
Yeah.
alongside changing views on women's roles. And then, of course, comes Disney.
Disney. Oh, yeah. They brought their own unique perspective to the story, didn't they?
Yeah.
Their 1998 animated film, while still rooted in the basic premise of the ballad,
Yeah.
really took Mulan's individual journey to a whole new level.
It does feel like the Disney version leans more heavily into the idea of self-discovery
Yeah.
and finding your own path. Was that a big departure from the earlier versions of the story?
It was a shift in emphasis,
Yeah.
for sure. In the Disney film, Mulan isn't just acting out of duty. She's yearning for something more.
Yeah.
She wants to to prove her worth beyond her predetermined role.
Okay.
Remember that beautiful song, Reflection?
Yeah.
It perfectly captures that longing to break free from expectations and embrace one's true self.
Yeah, I love that song. It's all about finding your own voice, your own identity. It's so universal.
It is.
I can see how that would resonate with audiences worldwide, particularly young girls, trying to figure out who they are in a world that often tries to put them in a box.
Exactly. And while the film celebrates individual empowerment, it also sparked debate about cultural representation.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, some critics argue that the emphasis on individual triumph over communal duty, a hallmark of Western storytelling, clashed with the original story's cultural context.
Okay.
It raised questions about how to balance staying true to the source material while making it accessible to a wider audience.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. It sounds like a classic dilemma of adaptation. How much do you change to appeal to a new audience while still honoring the spirit of the original?
Exactly.
It must be a delicate balance.
It is, and the 2020 live-action remake seemed to try to address some of those criticisms. It shifted back towards the traditional themes of family honor and loyalty, even bringing back elements from the poem, like the detailed descriptions of Mulan's war preparations.
So it sounds like they were attempting to bridge the gap between the animated film's emphasis on individualism and the original ballad's focus on duty.
Right.
I'm curious, though, did they still maintain that focus on Mulan's internal struggles?
Oh, absolutely.
Like her desire to be recognized for her abilities rather than her gender?
Absolutely. That theme remains central to her character. In the live-action film, Mulan's journey is still very much about challenging expectations and proving her worth.
Right.
There's a particularly striking scene where she outsmarts her enemies using her intelligence and strategic thinking, showcasing her abilities beyond just physical strength.
Right.
It's a clear message that resonates with modern audiences who are moving beyond simplistic notions of masculine or feminine.
Yeah.
And embracing the idea that true strength lies in embracing your unique ability, regardless of gender.
I love that. So even though the live action film shifted back towards traditional values, it didn't lose sight of Mulan's inner drive and desire to break free from limitations.
Yeah, it's incredible how that theme has become so intertwined with her story, no matter the interpretation.
It really speaks to the enduring power of Mulan's story, right?
It does.
You know, it transcends cultural boundaries and speaks to something fundamental about the human experience, this desire to break free from societal constraints and achieve one's full potential.
Exactly.
It's a message that resonates, you know, no matter where or when you are.
It does.
It's fascinating how different cultures have interpreted that message, right? Like in some versions, it's about fulfilling filial duty. In others, it's about personal self-discovery. In others, it's a blend of both.
Totally.
It highlights how cultural values shape our understanding of heroism. What's considered brave or honorable can vary greatly depending on the societal context.
Yeah.
But the underlying message of Mulan's story, that women are capable of extraordinary things, that's a message that resonates across cultures and time periods. It does.
That's so true. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive into Mulan's journey, I'm wondering, what about you? What stands out to you as the most significant change in her story over time? What does that shift reveal about how our perceptions of gender roles and heroism have evolved?
Think about it for a moment. What aspect of her transformation resonates most with you personally?
Yeah.
And how has your own understanding of Mulan's character evolved over time?
Okay. We'll explore these questions further in a final part of our deep dive.
Awesome.